Economics and politics are the foundation of human development.
While forming the world's earliest civilizations, Africans also laid the groundwork for the creation of economic systems.
By learning from our history, we gain the strength to empower the present and design the future. Presenting the premier forum for truth, culture, and change. HAPI Talks. Join us as we unlock the secrets to our success.
Peace.
Peace, family. So what did you think about the new opener, Hassan?
It was cool. It was clean. It was to the point. It was direct. Yeah, it was colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you showed me it, I only saw it one time.
Oh, okay.
I totally forgot what it actually looked like and what it felt like. But yeah, I like the feel to it.
Yeah, and it's so cool because this one is now that we're moving to a different space with HAPI Talks. It's cool because it gives acknowledgement to all the people that's been on our show. We've taped about 250 so shows now. And it's cool to just see like people who've come on our show like many times be there,
it's like we're honoring them, before the show starts.
Yeah. Especially like Dr. Ranoka Rashidi, because he's made his transition along with Dr. Patricia Newton. So it's nice to, it's like getting me hyped. All right. Peace to Doriel in the chat. She's like, family. See, and that's only a thing you get if
she's always the one. She's always the one.
Yep. But you only know that if you traveled with us. So
yeah, what's up, Dory? What's up, Dory?
Yep.
But peace, family, peace, happy family. Once again, we back with another good show. We want to make sure that before we start, you guys like, subscribe to the channel, share, because it's going to be a good one. Stay connected on all platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on TikTok now, right, Felicia?
Yeah, listen, look, anybody that's on TikTok, just give me some grace because I know you guys will see something 1 minute, the next thing you know, I've deleted it because I'm trying to like put it up and just put some music that I don't even know this music. And I was like, this music don't even fit this. And I can't figure out how to get it off, So yeah.
I can't help you with that. You're gonna have to speak to your kids about that because I can't help that.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool because I changed it so we can just use regular music now. And the piece, the music I chose optimistic for our guest. It's like every time I was listening to it, I was just getting amped. Y'all don't understand. Okay, well, I'm getting in front of myself. Go ahead. I'm so excited.
Well, family, also moving forward, we're doing some institution building, right? And we're going to need your support. So, check out our HAPI store. You would have to go to the website for that. Go to the website, check out the store. We got shirts, hoodies, merch, get it while supplies last, basically. Also, if you want to donate, you could cash app at us at $HAPI Film. You could, what else you could do? You could PayPal us if you want to,
Yeah, we have PayPal now.
Yes, definitely. That's even for the overseas people. The overseas people could PayPal us as well. But liking and subscribing and sharing, commenting, those are really phenomenal things that do help us, that help the platform, and it helps us, as a whole, because, we're getting the content out there, we're getting the information out there so people can actually apply it to their lives. All right. So, it's very important to do that. Also, what we want you to do is subscribe to our newsletter, because the newsletter will keep you informed with other things as well that we may not talk about on the YouTube channel, we may not talk about it on HAPI Talks, because, it's time consuming. We have a guest that we want their information to get out as well. So subscribe to the newsletter, go to hapifilm.com, click the button, get connected, and you can just stay in tune with us when it comes to that. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, Felicia.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna also add, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, because we know you guys just be like looking at our little channel and don't want to like commit. Just go ahead and subscribe, and then hit the notifications button. That way, as soon as we go live, then everybody else is live. Like that we're there. You get to be right and get all the information in the beginning, because we're gonna have some little information today that you're gonna want to have been connected to get. But I'm not okay. Stop. Because
also a lot of people are familiar with us on YouTube, right? But what they don't know is that there's actually a HAPI movie documentary, right? And that could be streamed on Amazon. That could be streamed on Tubi, Quayle TV. So make sure you check that out as well. All right.
Yes.
So we're gonna get started, Felicia.
Yes. So I'm so excited, as you can tell, to bring on our next guest. I want to say it was shortly, it had to be like right after like New Year's. It was maybe like February or something like that. I'm doing one of my favorite things I like to do, which is scroll on, IG. And anytime I see anybody like with a little afro or like a black person that look like me, I'm always seeing what they're saying, especially if it's a woman, right? I'm always like, or like a fine looking man, I'm always stopping to see what they got to say. So I'm scrolling and I see Coach Val, and she started asking like a couple of questions. And like the first question, she was like, are you tired of being where you are? Or something like that. And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, what would, she started kind of going into this forward progress piece, but I was not. You have to be in your mind ready to like make moves. You can't be shamed into doing it, but it was just like too much. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like this woman's attacking me. And so I I was just like, that's okay. And I just kind of kept going. And the thing about IG, once you start looking at one thing, they'll send you more things, but you have to actually stay on their page for a minute that you get some of the same like content. I didn't stay on this woman's page for a minute. I don't even think it was 30 seconds. She started asking some hard questions I wasn't ready to answer. I just kept scrolling. She kept coming. It's like every time I turned on my IG, she was there. And I was like, damn it. And I was like, I try to, listen to divine, and listen to signs. And so I was like, let me see what this lady's talking about. Yeah. And I tell you, it has remarkably changed my life. Her thinking, because her thinking is a rope to your freedom, literally. Wow. And you just, you got to you just have to get in there. But once you're in there and you start listening and, and she's like very supportive and all these things. And so when I was having a conversation with Taaqiy, and he was like, oh, we should try to get this woman. I didn't even know he was looking at this woman. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. I was like, okay. I was like, let me, ask her. And she said yes. Like within like 30 seconds, she said yes. So I am so honored to have Coach Val J with us tonight. So I'm gonna bring you in. Yay!
Yes. Hey, that's my favorite story. As you described that, that running, like I'm not trying to hear that. And then this is what I have, this group of coaches, and I tell them, you have to show up, and you need to be consistent. And so, every one of mine is going to ask you something that you might not want to hear, but I operate on what I call assignment, plant seeds. And so those questions are seeds, God, whatever makes them grow, but I just plant the seeds. And so I'm happy to be here. I love that. I love that you was like, and then, but because I kept showing up, you said, let me just see.
Yep. You had a little headband on one time, then you had your hair out. And I was like, damn it. And then like that little pin. And, and the thing about it, I'm a Virgo. So I like I like lists. I like, and you use good acronyms and stuff. But, when you're asking hard questions, I tell you, it's something else. But we're very happy to see you in here.
Thank
somebody in the comments are like, Coach Val J can't be stopped. I was like, nope.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. Very happy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. So just to start from the beginning. So how did you even become this coach, like, teaching forward progress? Like, how did you even get into coaching?
Well, it was many years ago. I think the funniest story for me is when recently in Facebook. Well, this was actually a few years ago, but somebody that I went to high school with sent me a message because they had started seeing my videos. And they said, that I'd known, we started first grade together all the way through. Oh. And they said, you remember when you used to charge us 10 cents to give us advice? And I was like, no, I don't remember that. But like, no. And so then I posted it, and a lot of my people that I went to school with was like, yeah, remember you told me about so-and-so. And I just, for some reason, I can't remember that. It's like second or third grade. So it's been in me to look at things from a different perspective. And I attribute that to my mother. My parents, they didn't really believe in like whooping us. They would occasionally if we really got out of hand, but it was more asking questions. Like my mom would, sit us on the sofa and say, when you did that thing, what were you thinking? And not why did you do that, but what were you thinking? And so that place of asking questions for understanding, to then follow up with what we're going to do with that. And sometimes our answers still resulted in a whooping, but sometimes it was for clarity, and then she talked to us. So, I think I was birthed into this space. And then I went through several, things. I have a degree in finance. And so I spent a lot of years working at Merrill Lynch and other financial planning firms. That was my, my career. But even in the meetings, I'd always ask questions, not so much of why we're doing it, but, what's our goal, our desired end result, And so finally, I stopped running from that and started asking myself, what does that look like from a career perspective? And then I answered, went to the schooling, went to the certifications, failed a bunch of times, and stop making it be this big deal and letting it be what it is. I like to read these books. I like to think of processes. I live the processes, and I teach the processes.
I love that. You said you live the processes. Yeah. I can tell that you live something, because, you say it with such integrity, and you say it with such like knowing, when you're, trying to help us get out like of, something. So I'm sorry, I forgot to tell everybody this. So listen, family, make sure you're paying attention, because we are going to ask a question at the end of this session with Coach Val J. And we'll give you an email address, and the first person to email us, with the correct answer will win a 20-minute conversation with Coach Val, which is cool. But listen, I'm gonna tell y'all now, if y'all not ready to like come clean, don't email us, because you don't want to win, because I'm telling you, like, you got, be ready. And I think that, everyone here can be ready. Should be ready.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hassan.
So when we talk about stuck, so what falls under the umbrella of being stuck? Like, what are some of the things that we attach ourselves to when we say, or when we feel that we're stuck?
Good question. I'm disrespectful in the word stuck, because I call stuck all the ish, without cursing, the ish that's absent of forward progress. Like if I'm not experiencing forward progress, I know there's something that I want to accomplish. In this 2025, I can Google, I can ask someone, so I can find the way forward. But if I'm not taking the way forward, all of that I call ish, and that is stuck. An aspect of you wants to experience something. Some other aspects of you are afraid to, or don't want to, or use excuses. And that space in between, 1 foot forward, 1 foot backward, is what I call stuck. Now, I say I'm disrespectful because I just lump it all. I'm not minimizing someone's trauma. If you've listened to me for a while, I've told the stories about growing up with 2 alcoholic parents, and a lot of things happen. And I had a grandmother who was, schizophrenic, and she used to lock me in a closet with, roaches and rats and things. So I've experienced some stuff, And I'm not minimizing anyone else's trauma, but what I'm saying is, when I said I live this stuff, I live it. And just one example, it doesn't even have to be me, just one example that you can process through things is enough for me to be disrespectful to stuck and say there's processes. If you're willing to implement the processes, you can get out of this space of stuck. So I kind of look at stuck as, here's where I want to be, here's where I am. And my next step is either a step forward or a step in the direction of stuck.
Gotcha.
Because we're always moving.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you you were transparent and you let us know that you actually lived this and you went through the traumas as well. So because there will be people that will say, and I've done it as well, well, you don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. So how can you tell me that I can make progress, within my traumas, and I can get past these things and I can get to my goals? But I guess that would be a form of being stuck by using those so-called excuses to say, because it's kind of like an excuse to say, well, you don't know me, you don't know my life.
Yeah. It's a story. I like to say those things are stories because, of course, we have beliefs, we have past experiences, we have very real situations that create this space of feeling unsafe. But then we tell ourselves a story. And so I use this acronym for story: stuck tales, operating my reality by yesterday's limitations, yesterday's fears, yesterday's traumas, yesterday's unprocessed wounds. Then those wounds become my instructions instead of an experience that I had. And so when I'm constantly operating from the wound, I'm in protective mode. I'm not wanting to do that. Whereas there's an aspect of me that says, yes, we can. My wound says we can't, we didn't, we haven't, let it go. But guess what? Our purpose is expansion. So all that we can't, it's not going to happen. Let it go. The dream doesn't die. It doesn't go away. You wake up, even if you feel hopeless, there's a little piece of you that still wants something. I talk to a lot of people and they say, I don't know what I want. And then the first thing I say is, do you want to be healthy? Do you want the ability to breathe unassisted? Well, yeah, of course. That's a big one.
Yes.
That's a big one. So now you can no longer say, I don't know what I want, because I know for a fact I want to be healthy. Yeah. So let's build from there.
Yeah.
You see, it's just a matter of really asking different questions and getting out of the story, or at least identifying the story, because we all got stories.
Yes.
But at least identifying the story and labeling the ones that keep me, that give me a little reprieve, but they don't let me go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus a new story that doesn't say, okay, everything's great and amazing, but it just simply says it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
We can do this is the mustard seed. I can do a lot with it's possible, because I'm willing to believe it's possible. Then I can take the little bitty leap to it's possible for me. And then I can take another little leap to say, what are the actionable steps that make this possible for me?
Yes.
Man, I want to ask you one of the things about the morning routine. Can you just kind of describe your morning routine, or what? Yeah. Because your morning routine is what you taught us. So yeah.
Well, my favorite part of my morning routine is simple. As soon as I'm talking about the second I have the awareness that I'm up, I'm still in this realm. My first thoughts, my first statements are thank you, and I say it 7 times. 7 is the number of completion. And I operate in my assignment, and my assignment requires me to plant seeds, to pour. Can't pour from an empty cup. So the expression of saying thank you is me filling my cup. First off, me acknowledging, I may have went to bed with a bill and woke up with the bill, but I still woke up. So I've got something to be thankful for. My knee may have been hurting when I went to bed, and it might be hurting when I wake up, but my other one's not. Or I woke up, I have a bed, and again, just little simple things. And I live by this belief, if I woke up, I can wake up to my opportunities. Mm-hmm. If I'm still here and I'm still breathing, my goodness, some things can change, some things can shift. So the biggest part of my morning routine is waking up and expressing gratitude. And most of the time it's longer than 7 thank yous. But I get to the 7, like this morning, I don't know. I can't think of anything that happened last night, but I was late to my live this morning because gratitude was just pouring. And I was like, come on, pour. Maybe there's something I need to do later. And so that's part of my routine. I go outside, I walk around, I breathe, I drink water, the elements water. I go out, I'm in Florida, so I can go out barefoot a lot. I like to go out and just feel the grass, feel the nature, breathe, pause, hang out with my spouse, laugh and joke. But those are the bulk of the things of my morning routine, positioning me and centering me to operate in the highest expression of my assignment.
Mm. I like how you just throw in that you were in Florida. Well, we're freezing up here in New York. Go tomorrow, but go ahead.
Thanks a lot. But actually, speaking of that, so again, I'm going to play devil's advocate for other listeners. Whereas other people may live in more of a chaotic environment, and the hustle and bustle, especially in New York, like if you're working in the city or you have to go through the city, is just chaotic. Everything is fast moving. No one's saying excuse me, and it's just this everyday cycle. Mm-hmm. So when you wake up, you say thank you, but then after the thank you, all the other things start bombarding you. Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest, in those moments, in those daily moments, what would you suggest to try to get through that, so you can come out of your stuckness?
Sure. Well, there's an affirmation that I've said so many times. Honestly, one weekend, a long time ago, I checked in a hotel room, and it was almost a mad science thing. I took my notebook, several pens, and I wrote the same affirmation on a Friday afternoon all the way until Monday morning. Same thing over and over. My hand was cramping over 10,000s of times. And it's really simple. It's 4 words. I get to decide. I get to decide, which means every moment there are external situations and circumstances that happen. Like you said, the hustle and bustle. My 9 to 5, I work for a nonprofit organization. I'm a coach there also. Okay. And we serve no to low income single moms. And so, that's a lot of stress trying to take that $1 and somehow pay $6 worth of things just to exist. Yes. And so I definitely get it. And so that I get to decide. And then the rest of that is I get to decide how to experience the experiences that come my way. So when the hustle and the bustle comes and the situations come, first off, I remember I filled my cup. Mm-hmm. My cup is full. I have the capacity to feel the external pressures and situations, you see. And so I first recognize I get to decide how I'm going to process this. And I might yell and scream. I might feel the weight. But a lot of the reason why we feel so heavy is because we're judging ourselves at how we're feeling what we're feeling, as opposed to, wait, I get to decide. So if I'm stressed out today, it's okay to be stressed out. If in this moment I lose it and I say something I didn't want to say, I get to do that. Yeah, I'm telling you, a significant portion of the overwhelm we feel is because we're judging how we're experiencing life. And if we can get in the habit of recognizing, wait, I'm the one deciding this. There's a phrase that I love. When there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm. And so when these things present themselves, if I feel, this is what I like to say, circumstances hit something. So using your example, if you know you're in a high stress environment, moving and flowing, and that's the environment, that's the circumstances, and I choose to be there, then I need to have something in place to help me navigate what's normal, and then have some extra for the abnormal things. And it's really all an inside job. I cannot change the external situations and circumstances, but I can change how I show up in it and how I show up for me through it. And again, for me, I get to decide. And when circumstances hit something, what do they hit? Do they hit something that says, see, I knew it was like this. It's always like this, always going to be like that. Do they hit the stuck tail, or they hit me to say, wait, I get to decide how to experience this. There's a lot of stress in this city, a lot of things going on, and I get to experience these things. So I want to talk to myself and remind myself of balance. And then in those moments where there's the absence of stress, goodness gracious, let me be intentional with the presence of peace.
Nice.
You got to talk to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very important.
Okay. So yeah, because I want to build on that. What you're saying about it seems like, having, because everyone, I always hear people say perspective is everything, right? So when you're thinking about, how, like, you get to decide, it seems like all the power now is back in you, right? Mm-hmm. When you oh, I'm sorry. Somebody just hit the window. Like, I'm on the second floor. Up on the window. I'm so sorry. Okay. So, this idea of that, our perspective, is how we shift things. So how do we do that on a more like a long-term basis? Or like when you talk to, like, how long does that usually take for people to kind of start shifting that belief, and really practicing that?
Oh, I love that question, because sometimes we bail because it takes too long. Mm-hmm. And we, I don't know about this stuff, but then it's funny because I like to teach foundation stuff, not necessarily circumstance. So then you can lay the foundation over the different circumstances. There's this phrase I love: how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if I know how to process almost anything, then when something comes along, I have a process for it. So I think about, I like to teach from foundational agreements. So there's a phrase that I say, here's the thing: thoughts, words, feelings, actions, choices, and decisions. I call that our inner operating system. So to maintain this continuous state, not positive thinking, but regulation, to maintain, because I can be mad, I could be sad, I can be all of those things. Not walking around, it's all unicorns and sugar cookies. We're human, we're grown, things happen. But how do I process that? And I really hold steadfast that it is about the questions that we ask. So when I think about how do I maintain this, or how long does it take to change this? If I know the science, or if I understand that there's a rule here, and as long as I adhere to the rule, I can process through it. But when I revert back to yesterday, it's kind of like if I'm driving and there's a no outlet area, and then there's a street that gets me where I want to go. Every single time I go in the no outlet, that's where I'm going to end up. They haven't built it. It's a cul-de-sac. There's never going to be a street to get me out of there. Mm-hmm. So every time I revert back to my yesterday way of being, my limited beliefs that were comfortable, I'm not ever going to experience what I want to experience. And so if you really get that down inside, that comfort zone starts to be very uncomfortable. These things don't work, so I'm just going to be how I was. Well, okay, own your decision.
Yeah. So
then the next time you complain, you remember, well, I made that decision. Yeah. And that's why I get to decide, because if I've decided that I'm going to stay over here in this space of lack, stick in it, stay with it. But if I'm saying I want more, then I have to choose something that invites that more.
Mhm.
And so I like foundational agreements, and you all hear me say them a lot. There's some that I say, I'm my safest space in the universe. I am my safest space in the universe, which means I'm on here talking to y'all. If I do something silly, or if I mess up, or, I'm in Florida. If a lizard runs by behind the screen, I'm like, oh Lord, a lizard ran by, and people are going to think I'm this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I say, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to tell those people no, which is an opportunity for expansion? Or are you going to say, yep, a lizard ran by, but the lizard ain't got nothing to do with me?
Yeah.
I see, most of us, is probably you all too, when we get ready to do something that's maybe a little bit out of our comfort zone, the what ifs come up.
Yep.
So how you stay in this is what you say to the what ifs.
Yeah.
Okay, if it happens, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
What have I made that mean about me? And I made the decision that external situations and circumstances don't have anything to do with me. They happen, they're there. It's not that thing that happened, it's what I do with it. And I always got control.
I don't want you to gloss over that. Say that one more time.
Situations and circumstances, those outer things, don't have anything to do with me. I get to decide what I'm going to do with those things. So it's not the situation that happened, it's what I do with it. And so if I can remember, wait, what am I going to do with this? What did I make that mean? Then I recognize in these states where you might feel powerless, one question repositions your power. Wait, what am I going to do with this? Simple question. Wait, well, okay, what am I going to do with this? When the what ifs come up, well, what if this happens? What if I mess up? Okay, so what am I going to do with the mess up? What am I going to make it mean about me? Who do I know I am? You see, am I a mess up? Nope. Can mess ups happen? Yeah. Can I separate the event from the person? See, when I make it my identity, I'm afraid, because that's me as opposed to that's the situation. This is why people say I am a procrastinator versus this week I did not achieve those things because I was allowing myself to procrastinate. We've taken on the whole identity. So a lot of times we don't want to take on the expansion because it's counter to the identity that we've taken on, as opposed to a thing we're doing. So you have to be willing to separate, get back in touch with your identity, and recognize when you're saying I am this thing, as opposed to I'm experiencing this thing that I'm calling that. Gives you a little bit of separation. Then you don't take it as personal when it's you versus it's a thing. And then you can just enough space to pause and breathe. And then if you have these foundational agreements, questions, what am I going to do with that? What am I making that mean about me? And I get to decide that. Then I'm not so terrified about things happening.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about expansion? And what does that mean for Like, what does expansion mean?
Yeah, I have this philosophy that I live by, that I think everybody has the same life purpose, expansion. And then the ultra specific experience of expansion is your assignment, right? So when I think of expansion, it's simple. I think more of the core characteristics of who we aspire to be or what we're drawn towards. So if joy is your thing, like peace is my thing. I came up from a chaotic environment, 2 alcoholic parents. It was pretty chaotic. And so I said, when I grow up, I want to have a space of peace. So for me, expansion means operating in such a way that I invite more peace in my own life and other people's lives. And my thing about expansion is, to me, we came from infinite intelligence, God, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. God is all, everywhere, all things, all power. All is more. More is all. And so if I came from the source of more, then it only makes, of all, I should say, then it only makes sense that what gave me life draws me to be more like it, which is why I say expansion is everybody's purpose. Now, the cool part is we get to decide what the more is. And if we focus on core characteristics and not titles or designations, then we invite the titles and designations because we were more of the characteristic. See, when I kept chasing a title, I wasn't allowing myself to be more of me, more of my core values. But when I start being more of my core values, the titles came.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job.
I like it. And you know what, family, all these things that the beautiful thing I like about what you do, and I think all like great people who inspire people, you literally, everything that you're saying, you give this all away for free. Like everything that you're saying, if people just tune into one of your lives or anything, they can get all this information, because sometimes people are like, oh, I can't afford, Coach. No, Instagram. Some of them lives get you right. And then, then you start looking at things differently. Like, I actually do have, a couple dollars to, go over here. And you're very, all your blessings are very inexpensive. Like you really seem to really care, that we get this. I love this planting seeds.
Yeah. Listen, there was a time, and I've said this before, there was a time where I was mad that I woke up in the morning. Mad, like, because I was so depressed and I was so sad and I was so angry at life and all the things. And when I think, now two things, impact and income, they're the same. I want both of them. I want the impact and the income, because I want to make sure my family looks the way we want it to look, the quality of life. But I don't ever want somebody to be absent of a morning where they wake up with 7 thank yous, as opposed to mad they woke up because they couldn't pay the fee to get the information. And so a while back, I asked, again, quality questions. I said, okay, if I had the financial abundance that I believe is available, house paid off, all the stuff, millions or what have you, what would I do? And I said, well, what would I do? And the first thing came to my mind is I would teach. It's in my soul. It's in my feet. It's in every little piece of my hair. And I said, well, what's the version of that you can do now? So you're operating, not acting as if, but you're operating in it and inviting it. And I was like, teach. So what's that look like? Okay. Every month you can do your 30 lives. You can build something here. You can do this, because I got a lot of free time. And I don't get it twisted. I still clean up. I cooked some brown stew chicken the other night. I still clean. I'm still a wife, still do those things. However, this is what opens so many opportunities for more things. And I feel like when you're in your assignment, it really doesn't even feel like work. Yep. Y'all can attest when I'm on these lives, an hour, 2 hours have gone by. I'll block off the time, but I'm like, oh Lord, 2 hours, I gotta go. But so it's extremely important to me that a financial barrier doesn't become the reason why you don't get to hear something that might shift your life. And then I have these other things, of course, so that I'm not Jesus. I'm not a martyr. I want the experience. I choose to have the quality of life. And more things have opened when I operate in a space of abundance rather than scarcity. Yeah. More than I can imagine.
Yeah. And I also think that sometimes when we say, oh, we can't, I can't afford this, or I can't, and then when you start, one of the things that you talk about, which I was going to ask you next, is the comfortable lie, is like, once you start getting real with yourself, and then you say, oh, okay, I was just actually saying that, like, it does look like that on paper. I can't afford it, but, you start looking, you're like, okay, no, I actually can. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing something else over here. But, but the reality is that, I can if I wanted to. And so, can you talk to us a little bit about your concept of the comfortable lie?
Oh,
People are tight with me. I'm like, sounds like a comfortable lie. And then they get mad. They're like, no, this stuff is happening. I was like, comfortable lie. I'm probably not explaining it the right way.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. So you have this goal, right? And then you don't take any action. And then you say, okay, I'm not taking this action. I'm not doing this. So you tell yourself something that sounds reasonable, and it could be true, oh, I have ADHD, or it costs $1,000 and I don't have $1,000. You tell yourself something that sounds wise, right? Oh, it's because of this. So then you get that little feeling like, see, your brain even rewards you with this little dopamine hit. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's true. I got the prescription, or I got this. It's true. But then what happens is, after that little feeling subsides, that other feeling is like, dang, I really wish I could do that. You see? So then what happens? Now you call yourself stuck, no action. And then you feel like, dang. And then you repeat it again. You say, okay, you know what? Monday, I'm going to do this. Nothing changed. You're going to tell yourself the same story. That's why I call it a loop. So you want something, you feel it. You say, I'm going to start taking action. You don't take the action. You tell yourself a story. It could be a true story, but how you're using the truth is hurting you, not helping you. Tell yourself something, you feel justified, and then a few days later, the dream comes back. Because again, this is why I say our purpose is expansion. Expansion is always knocking on our door. Feel it, and then it loops and loops. And guess what happens? The more you loop that, the stronger it is. So you keep saying it must be something else. I must have a block. I must have now because it's like the hit of whatever I told myself. It doesn't have the same power. It doesn't have the same potency. So now I got to come up with a bigger lie, or let me say it again, a bigger story. And then it loops again. And so we're building this neural pathway. The brain goes, I have an idea. Let's tell myself something to keep me safe. And instead of us recognizing that's just you have a goal, but your identity hasn't risen to be the person. I always say you don't get what you want. You get who you're willing to become. You see, before I did workshops. I did the same stuff I do on videos locally. I would use a library, or my brother had a coffee shop. I would use his coffee shop, and I would do these workshops, teach all this stuff. And I'm an introvert, so I really didn't like having to people and then hug people and talk and do all this physical connection. And, if I got a workshop from 7 to 8, they want to hang out to 9. We got to hug and I was like, this is a lot. I wish I could just turn on the screen and talk to the ethers and then be in my pajamas or wherever. And then my mom was like, don't you watch, Tony Robbins and all those people on your phone? And then I thought, well, okay, I can do that. And then here comes the comfortable lie. No, you're still big. You got moles on your face. You got this. You don't have, your hair is, this. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But I made a decision that I wanted the rest of this was in my late 40s, that I wanted the rest of my life to be one where I'm operating in assignment. So I asked myself, what must I believe true about me to fully take advantage of this wonderful space called social media that's free?
Yeah.
And I can be talking to someone in places that my eyes and my feet and my nostrils never breathe the air in those spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to somebody the other day in Israel. And I was like, what is it what must I believe true about me? And I said, what must I believe true? That I have an assignment. And one of my dear friends, she would always say, when the end finds her, she wants it to find her empty. And I said, if I wanted the end of my days to find me empty, what would I have done? The idea came to me, get on social media, teach the stuff. Why wouldn't I do it? And I wrote down all the reasons why I wouldn't. And I said, do those align with the identity you just deemed yourself? Do they support it or deny it? What have you decided? So I got uncomfortable and I said, okay, what's the easiest way to do this? I want easy. What's the easiest way to do it? And I came up with it. My first real consistent showing up was, okay, I'll go live on TikTok for 5 minutes. I wrote this book on pep talks. And I said, okay, 5 minutes. I'll say, hi, everybody. I'll open the pep talk. I'll read it. I'll present them one question and I'll get off. And I said, okay, can you commit to 30 days? Can you do at minimum 5 minutes? And I wouldn't even give myself a time. So sometimes I was doing it. I just said in 24 hours, you have to do it 30 days. So sometimes I would log on at 11:54 p.m. But I committed to it, and I'm a person of commitment.
Yeah.
That's one of my core values. So a couple of weeks in, it was uncomfortable. By about the third week, 5 minutes became 20 minutes with the goal of being comfortable in front of the camera. And then by the end of it, I didn't care because the feeling of knowing I was operating in my assignment was stronger than any external naysayers. And they weren't even there anyway.
Yeah.
So you got to have something, you need to have something that pulls you, that you can connect to, and only you can ask yourself questions to get there. And for me, I said I have more calendar probably behind me than in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can create what I want for the rest of my life. So what do I want to create? If I knew I could create what I want, why would I create something small and uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Like it didn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't fit myself where it didn't make sense. And I've been running ever since.
So when you're talking about creating, right? So I heard you once say you're a magnet. You attract the evidence that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. Now there's a caveat to that. You attract the evidence that you're looking for, but the funny thing is, what you see, you're the filter that decides what you see. So somebody can come by out of the blue, and say, "Hey, here's $10,000." And so you may look at the circumstance and say, "Oh, I'm great." And then a few days later, you get a bill for $8,000 that you weren't expecting, right? And then you say, "Oh, see, I'm terrible." No, you're the filter through which you see that. Somebody else may say, "Oh, that's terrible. Easy come, easy go." Somebody else may say, "Oh my God, thank God I had the 10,000. I'm still 2 up."
Yeah.
So it's not the circumstance, but the story that you tell yourself, because that's the filter that decides, defines, and designs what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So you better, if you keep saying everything keeps happening to me, it's not what's happening. It's the story you're telling yourself, the filter, the lens through which you're seeing those things.
Wow.
Okay. So we had, when I started promoting this show, I had asked people to, like, if they had something, something they're going through, if they could, ask you about. And so I have like 6 little people. So I'm just going to kind of go through these. Okay.
Please do.
Okay. And I'm not saying nobody's name, because I said we wouldn't say names. Okay. Wait, all right. Okay. Wait, I'm so sorry. And family, while I'm getting myself together here, make sure you are liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. And listen, you guys have to, I'm going to also put her information in our description. It's on all our social media already, but make sure you are liking and following follow Coach Val J. She's on every platform. She's mastered TikTok. You're like a TikTok star to me. TikTok and IG. Catch her on live. Like I said, this is, it's low hanging fruit. Like you can change your life. You literally can. Okay.
And if once you go to her pages, you can just listen to her just like you listen to music. Just get it in your psyche. And just to get it started within you, and then, you start applying it and doing the work. But, just listen to 5 minutes here and there. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And listen, if you try to try to run from her, she gonna find you. So you won't be able to run once you start getting tapped in. And the calls that you do in the beginning of the week, is that like if people are subscribed to you, they get the wake up call, like not wake up call, but the pep up conversation.
Oh, the pep talk.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's actually just one of the broadcast channels that's available on Instagram. So I just do that every day if that's open to anybody that wants to be in that broadcast channel.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I give myself a pep talk every day. So I thought somebody else might use it. Again, it's part of my routine. I mean, I'm telling you, I live this stuff. I talk to myself in the way, when you see a video, I've done that. I've lived that. I've experienced that. And those pep talks make a big difference. Just start again, filling my cup.
Absolutely.
But yeah, anybody can join the broadcast.
Yeah. There's really no reason to be stuck. Not in 2025.
Not in 2025.
Yes. All right. So here's the first one. I keep repeating the same relationship pattern. Every time I start dating someone new, I end up falling into the same cycle. I give too much, ignore red flags, and then I feel disappointed when things don't work out. I know that I'm playing a part in this pattern, but I can't seem to stop it. And I want to understand how to break the cycle for good. I'm stuck between who I've been and who I want to become. I feel like I'm growing, but my old habits and fears keep pulling me back. I know that there's a newer, stronger version of me trying to come through, but I don't know how to fully step into it. Yeah. Last thing. I'm in this in-between stage and I need help moving forward instead of staying stuck in my old me. I want to start a project, but I can't seem to begin. I have a goal that I really want to pursue, something that could change my life. But every time I try to start, I freeze. I get overwhelmed, distracted, or talk myself out of it. I need help.
This is the same person?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes back to kind of how you do one thing is how you do everything. So this person can identify the pattern, see the pattern, call the pattern, high five the pattern, and then hold hands with the pattern and keep walking in it. So first off, it always starts to me with conscious awareness. So I can see where I've repeated that pattern. So now that I know I repeat the pattern, so I would ask that person 3 questions. Do you have the conscious awareness of the pattern? They already said yes. And you recognize that, again, going down that same cul-de-sac, knowing how it's going to turn out the same way, and you do it, right? So now you're addicted you have become addicted to the disappointment. It's just a controlled disappointment. You're going to get disappointed anyway, but I'm going to still go down that street. So then again, comfortable lie. I have something to not necessarily complain about, but to say, see. Now, here's the thing. That first question, are you aware of it? The second question is, have you decided that the identity that you said you want to experience, you want to become, is going to take the lead? Have you decided? Not just I'm going to stay in this. You see it, you know it, you feel it, you see the detrimental effects of it, but have you made the decision that the you that you have decided to become gets to lead? That's a yes or no. The person says yes. Then the following question is, the second you recognize the pattern, what do you do? What do you do? Do you say yes to the uncomfortable, knowing how it's going to end? Or are you willing at that moment to let her take the lead or let him take the lead and start asking some different questions? Because as you keep repeating it, you built the system in your brain to just push through it, because the brain likes familiar over growth. But you have the conscious awareness to say, oh, I see I'm doing this. Like right now, I don't know if you're in a relationship and it's the same thing, or you're in the holding spot to say yes to another one. So then you got to ask yourself, knowing the pattern that I've been in, knowing the identity that I've decided to walk in, what thoughts would that me think? What words would that me speak? What feelings would that me invite? What actions would that me take? So would it mean that the second I see a red flag, the old me would just dismiss it and make an excuse for it? This me who I've decided to become would raise her hand and say, 6 times I've fallen in this pattern. This time I'm choosing something different. Now you may say, yeah, I want to do that, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You are afraid because you haven't fed a new story. You've relied on the old one, even though you know where it's going to end up. So I'm not saying you have to do something huge. You have to just ask, what would that me think? And give yourself permission to think slightly different. And it could be something so simple as, the next time I experience a red flag, here's the 3 things that I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell myself who I am. I'm going to ask these 3 questions. And from those 3 questions, I'm going to make a decision. See, now you've interrupted the pattern. You've interrupted the pattern, and maybe you fall back, but now you've got a new pattern. It's kind of like you've been going a super straight line and you keep ending up at the same place. And you're saying, well, how do I change? I know if I keep going this way, I'll end up. And you just do a slight 1 degree difference. You follow that through, you're going to end up somewhere different. But until you have the conscious awareness, which is clear you do because you asked the question, what would the me who I've decided to lead me think about this? What's the tiniest shift that I can make? And just like anything else, like a road, like anything else, a slight shift positions me for a different experience. That question invites a new way of processing. And it's not this big, huge leap that your nervous system is going to sabotage you back to the old way. It's a simple, small shift. And then please give yourself permission to grow and don't judge yourself.
Yeah, that's huge. That's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm reading the books, journaling, listening to podcasts, and trying to do better, but the progress feels slow or invisible. I feel like I'm putting in effort, but not getting results. And it's making me question myself. I need help. I need help figuring out what I'm missing or how to shift my approach.
Great. So there's 3 key words that I heard in there. I'm trying, I'm doing the processes, but I'm not feeling the results. So if this person was in front of me, I would ask them, what is the result you seek? How do you know you've experienced that result? See, a lot of times we only want the finish line. You know, if I'm running a marathon, 26 miles, and I'm pissed off at mile 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and only at 26 do I celebrate, then I probably won't ever get to 26 because I'm using the energy of anger instead of using the energy to run. So trying better have a process. Trying better have, here's where I am, here's where I want to get to, here's the actionable steps. Here's how I assess if those actionable steps are working, from a process of the effort and then how I'm showing up. So if that means if I want more confidence, I've got to ask myself, what would the confident me think? Run it through your system. Think, say, feel. What actions would the confident? If I'm on a level 2 and I want to be a level 10, what would the level 10 me do? Okay, great. So now I know what the end result is ongoing. But if I'm at a level 2, what would a level 3 do? Okay, so now I know my next step. And when I get to 3, I can celebrate that. So trying, process, results. You read the book, but before you open the book, did you see the cover of what the book said? And it said at the end of this book, you should do this, this, and this. Did you then finish the book and say, okay, am I doing this, this, and this? Probably not. Because if you're trying doesn't have a process, you're lying. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but this is that comfortable lie. We say a lot, I'm trying. Okay, what's your trying process? Well, I'm reading the books. Okay, when you read the books, what's your process for applying the chapter you just read? So, okay, you read the book. Chapter 1 says, know your identity. Okay, let's do a quiz. After the end of that, what's your identity? Well, I read the book. Okay, great. But the work is what changes, not the knowledge. So trying, process, results. Get some identifiable, clear end results and progress results. Time measurement. If I'm going to read this book and it tells me I should be able to do this, if I do this, effort goals, Did I do this? Did I measure where I was and where I am? Am I actually doing the things that the book told me to do? Because if you are doing that, you will see results. But if only thing you respect is the finish line, then you're going to disrespect yourself the entire race.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that. I like the marathon. You're good at these analogies. Like that's you're really good at those. Yeah. I could 100% see that. Okay, next one. I feel a pull to change my life, my habits, my mindset, maybe even my environment. Excuse me. But I feel paralyzed by not knowing the first step. There's a sense that I'm meant for excuse me. There's a sense that I'm meant for more, but the path feels blurry. I need clarity and guidance on how to start moving in the right direction.
Yeah. So again, I'm paralyzed. Next step, clarity and guidance. I don't think you're seeking clarity or guidance. I think you're seeking permission. Because in this day and age, if you don't know what the next step is, if you know you want to open a widget store, then you can find out who's had a widget store, who knows what, and you can Google it and get a book or get what have you. And they say, oh, if you want to open a widget store, do X, Y, Z. Or if you want to feel more confident, you can watch a TED Talk or you can write a book. You can do something to see the actionable step. So with kindness, let's be clear. You know the next step. You know the next step, but you haven't given yourself permission to do it. Really, you haven't given yourself permission to fail as you attempt. Because I'm thinking there's some judgment there. And again, it goes back to, you said clarity, growth, paralyzed. When somebody feels paralyzed, it's because they're afraid. I'm afraid to move, but I'm really afraid of what will happen if I don't achieve it. I can guarantee you're probably saying, I want to do it, but what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if I waste time? What if I waste money? So all the what ifs have putting you in a state of paralysis. Because the brain is like, let's be safe. Let me keep you safe. So don't do nothing. But there's that other part of you that's the idea knew everything about you and it found its way through the universe, searched 8 billion plus people and came to you. So the idea knew you was afraid. The idea knew all of this and it said, I want you anyway. So if the idea wants you anyway, do you want it? So you don't have to make this big, huge leap. You just got to say, okay, in the moment, and this is simple, but a lot of people won't do this. You say, okay, I don't know the first step to do whatever the thing is. So what do I think is the first step? Find somebody who's done it or Google search. Because if you're really talking about an actual thing, let's be honest, if you're talking about an actual thing, somebody somewhere has found the step.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, she married a Turkish man. And so they wanted, and I officiated the wedding. And so they wanted a little bit of a Turkish verbiage in English. I don't speak the language, but guess what I did? I said, okay, let me write out what I'm going to say. And then I'll say, is this enough if I say these things? And they're like, oh, that's great. That's great. Cause it was just, for the family. So I said, okay, so now here, I need to speak I need to speak this language and I don't know how to speak it. What do I do? Okay, well, I got 6 months before the wedding. I know the actual phrase that I need to say, and I know the words. Oh, but what if I mess up? What if I say it wrong? What if I use a male pronoun when it should be female? What if I, and I said, okay, what if I do those things? So you have two options. What if, and then you don't practice, and then you say you're going to do it, and then you're stressed, and then eventually you say, oh, I can't. You make up some excuse why you can't. Or you say, what if I do those things? Well, what is the action that I can take in the present moment that makes my what if negative happening minimize the possibility of its occurrence? So I said, okay, I'll write the script. I went on, YouTube. I went and Googled, got the words. I wrote it out, sent it to the family, recorded myself saying it, terrible, verbiage wrong, accent wrong, everything. And they said, yeah, that sounds good. Tighten this up. And I said, great. So then I practiced it. So I took 5 minutes a day, practiced it, said it every day. Because I didn't have clarity initially, I created clarity. And then when I created clarity, it came with courage and confidence. And when it came with courage and confidence, I could stand up and show up in front of 500 people and say it because I turned the what if it is wrong into an action plan to make it right. And that's what you haven't done, but that's what you can do, because it's not the absence of what to do, it's fear. And I can take the fear and minimize the likelihood of it occurring by asking questions, building a strategy, executing the strategy, and showing up. If I want that thing, the idea came to me, then it saw something in me that had the wherewithal to bring it to pass.
Nice. You muted.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm like, nice. I was like, I feel like we're playing basketball. I'm like, nice. Like, that's like a 3-pointer. That's like a little Steph Curry right there. Wow. Okay, I have one last one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. So my confidence rises and falls dependent on the day. Some days I feel powerful and capable, and other days I feel insecure and unsure. My confidence isn't stable, and it affects my decisions, my relationships, and my goals. I want to build a version of confidence that doesn't disappear the moment things get hard.
So your confidence is based on external situations and circumstances versus a foundational agreement. Because you say some days is better, probably some days is dependent on external things. And so I like to think about, I use this analogy when I think about worthiness, and confidence can fall in the same place. When I was in high school or junior high, I read this book, The Metamorphosis. And there's a character in there, the main character, Gregor Samsa. He wakes up and he's a cockroach. And so the whole story is about this metamorphosis and how his family treats him and stuff. And so, this is a lesson book. And so I think about this and I say, there's never, ever, ever a time when I will wake up anything other than a human. I won't wake up a cockroach. I won't wake up an ink pen. I won't wake up a bottle of water. I won't wake up a piece of paper or a blade of grass. So I'll always wake up a human. Now, this is the foundational agreement part that I say. I'm worthy, period, because I'm a human being. Worthy, confidence, self-esteem is a perspective that a posture in our perspective, if we choose it that way. So because I'm a human, I have the power of perspective, which means I can call myself and live from anything I choose in the realm of core values. So I can live as a confident person. Then I inform external situations, or I interpret external situations to support what I decided to believe. See, this person says, depending on the circumstances, which tells me the rock upon which you decide your confidence is based on external things of which you have no control. Mm-hmm. So as long as external things decide whether I'm confident or not, any given Sunday, I ain't gonna feel confident. Because if I wear that beautiful red dress on a Tuesday and everybody in the office says, girl, you look amazing. And then 6 weeks from now, I wear the same red dress, but everybody's busy and nobody says I look amazing. I'm going to be like, dang, did I gain some weight? Am I looking swole? What's wrong? I didn't get it. I'm never going to wear that dress again because of what they did. And they over here occupied and worried about the other stuff. Yeah. So if you lack confidence, or if your confidence is spotty, check what its foundation is. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you make confidence, when you make any characteristic that you want to experience based on what you decided, you make it solid. And so confidence not stable, up and down, you got to make a decision, and then you get to support the decision. And then the other thing is, I don't feel confident every day, but I don't give myself a title. I didn't make the agreement that I needed to feel confident every day. I mean, I'm 52, my body doing all kind of stuff. I read about it, but I didn't know. So sometimes it doesn't necessarily make me feel confident. This shirt that was loose a month ago is a little bit tight. Yeah. But do you think I say, oh, so man, I can't come on the show because no, I say I'm going to come on exactly as I am because I ain't no roach. I ain't going to never be one. I'm a confident person and it ebbs and flows, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not judging that I need to be 100% 24/7. So sometimes we have these expectations that we need to be a certain way, and we have to be that way. In any absence of not being that way, we need to put a title on it. What if you're just tired that day? What if you just don't feel like doing that? Why does it have to be a title of lacking confidence? And the other thing is, I'll say, you ought to define what confidence looks like, sounds like, feels like, and what the absence of it looks like, sounds like, feels like, and what the presence of it, but the decision that today I'm chilling looks like, sounds like, and feels like. So you can stop giving a title to something that is just today when I'm chilling.
Yeah. That's As you was talking, I was thinking early on when I was in college, I used to I had permed my hair. Well, I had like a Jerry curl. I had everything. I was from Detroit. I had a whole thing. And so at some point I wanted to like go natural. And, and I started dreaming about going natural. I would see girls natural, but this was like early 90s and it really wasn't like a thing. And I was in DC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I finally got enough courage and I went and I got like my hair cut off because I had to cut off all the perm and stuff. And I remember like my mom was like, oh man, she was talking trash. She was just like, oh, your graduation's coming up. What you gonna do with your hair? And I was like, I mean, it's already done. Like, in my mind, right. And then like, it seems like a lot of different people had some opinion about what my hair looked like. And I was just taking it all in. And so I finally just cracked under pressure. And I remember a month before I graduated, I was sitting in the beauty spot. She was putting a lie in my hair. I was getting another perm. And I had the Denzel Washington glory tear coming down my face. Because I knew at that moment, I was like, I listened, like, why do I care what these other people, like, why does this even matter? And so I remember in that chair, I just decided that that's it. I don't care what anybody says. They can say, oh, I like it. They don't like it. It doesn't matter. I like it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that, I tell you, that has worked for me in almost every aspect of my life. Like that is that. I'm just like, this is, as long as I'm good with it, I'm good.
Yeah. There's that MLM saying, some will, some won't, some what, so what? And so there's just going to be some so what's, but they only become a problem when I make their so what I have this thing called hierarchy of opinion. And so I have a list of opinions that matter, right? Because I'm human. People's opinion may matter, but there's a hierarchy. So hierarchy of opinion is my opinion of myself, and then God. And somebody say, well, why isn't God first? Because God has already called me something, but I'm the one that got to agree to it.
Yeah.
So my opinion, I got to agree to it. So me, then God, then me and God together. Then people that I love, then people that love me, then people that I like, and then people that like me. And then there's this big old long line, and then there's everybody else.
Like
so when I feel something, when somebody says something and it evokes a feeling, I'm not mad at the feeling because the feeling is just a signal. It's a signal for me to ask about my hierarchy of opinion and implement it. See, when you start feeling some kind of way, you're like, see, they hurt my feeling. Or maybe, no, it's just a signal to implement whatever you have foundation. And so when somebody says something, I say, okay, wait, let me go through the hierarchy. What did I say about it? What's God say about it? What the people I love say about it? And even if it's somebody that I love, again, there's two people above it. So then I say, whose opinion am I going to rock with? Whose opinion am I going to rock with, and where does it take me? I'm going to rock with mine always, always, always. So then I'm going to spend some time repeating and reiterating. And then I'm going to ask myself, the me that has decided that my hierarchy of opinion matters, what am I going to do with what they said? I'm going to categorize it correctly, give myself grace for feeling what I felt, remind myself on my safest space, remind myself that it's okay that they have opinions because what they say has nothing to do with me. It's their own thoughts. What I say is what counts, and then move on.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, Diamond, she references the nervous system often, and she talks about how it affects us daily in our life. And I've heard you mention a few times about the nervous system as well. Can you speak to like what the nervous system, how in relation to our thoughts, whether it's in the past, our thoughts for the past and our thoughts in the future, how it can ultimately affect our nervous system, whether it's in a positive manner or a negative manner?
Oh, sure. So there's a book I love, The Body Keeps Score. And so when those things, situations and circumstances have happened to us, the body knows, the body, nervous system pays attention to that. And it develops these inner rules, if you will. I liken it to touching a hot stove. You touch the hot stove and it burns you and you say, oh, the stove is hot. Now, here's the problem. A lot of times the things that we struggle with happen, way back when we were kids and before our mind was fully developed to be able to see multiple perspectives, right? And so when we were a kid, it's something must be wrong with me that happened, you see. And so then when we became adults, we could say, oh, that's their mess. But we often didn't, because we built this routine. The body keeps score of this happened. We immediately go, what's so wrong with me? Or was I wrong to think this? And then there's a piece of us that knows we shouldn't, but we go through this battle. And the habitual story is what often wins the battle, because that's the loudest one, right? So when I think about touching the stove, as a kid, you touch the stove, oh, stove bad. As an adult, we touch the stove and we say, oh, the way that I use the stove created a burn. That doesn't mean I'm never going to cook again. Well, that doesn't mean the stove is bad. It just simply means throw away that raggedy mitt that has holes in it, get a new mitt and keep on cooking. See, as kids, we couldn't do that, but as adults, we can. But the problem is we've repeated stove bad so much. We want to cook a gourmet meal, but we're terrified of the stove. Now we want to go get this promotion, or we want to do this thing, but we're terrified because the last time we didn't get the job, and we made that mean something's wrong with me, and we don't want to experience that because I'm afraid. I almost didn't make it out of that last time. I went into a depression, and I went into this and that. So the brain nervous system the goal isn't expansion, it's safety. And so if we make the unknown or uncertain or unfamiliar unsafe, then our nervous system is going to do what we might call self-sabotage or distraction or all these things which make us, and we say, I got this block, I just seem to can't do it. What you're really saying is, I have an experience in my body stored up, something around this, and so there's a level that makes me feel unsafe. But if you can just say, wait, because there's a piece of me that wants this. And I always say there's some science, a psychological reason or understanding that if I'm willing to get that, then I could recognize what's happening. So if I want to pursue something and I have this fear, I say, okay, I do want it. So what's the stove situation here? I like to say, what about this makes me feel safe? What about this makes me feel unsafe? And I just get quiet and listen, because the body stores memories. And sometimes you'll go back to a specific event, or sometimes you'll go to, to the story you're telling yourself. And then if I've got the story, I can give me a counter story. Now, this takes work. Of course it does. But progress takes work. Progress takes work. And I mean, I'm living, existing anyway. I might as well do the work that gives me a paycheck than the work that doesn't. True. Staying in the stuff don't give you anything. But at least having these questions, asking these things, getting a better understanding of yourself gets you something. You might not get the promotion, but you got to become the you who raises their hand and says, I'll do it, or I want it, as opposed to the you that complains that they don't know what they're talking about. And I should have been a supervisor, but you never sign up for it.
That's right. That's right.
So it's just a matter of recognizing that the body stores those memories and those thoughts. And that doesn't mean the end of the story. It just simply means, let me pause for a moment, because there's a space in this where I feel unsafe. And that doesn't mean it's dangerous. It simply means that I have something stored that makes this moment feel unsafe. And if I can lean in and ask some questions, I can get greater clarity, which then gives me more confidence, which gives me more courage, which gives me an actionable step to move forward. And then I can see that I made the step. The sky didn't fall. Things didn't happen. And then I have an experience. So I can no longer say I'm terrified of that. I have an experience that said, now I have another memory that says, oh, I did it and the sky didn't fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family, make sure that you are liking and commenting and sharing this video. And also thank you so much to Dennis Richardson and Talita Bryant. They've actually traveled with us. They were both in Ghana this last time. Yeah. So thank you guys for the HAPI Love. It's called HAPI Love now. So thank you so much for the HAPI Love. And again, we're building institutions, and all the things that you visually see that happens in HAPI land are from people that look like us. And we take this money and we spend it with them. So thank you so much for the HAPI Love. And you can also hit us up on the super chat, or you can go to our website and we have we still have a GoFundMe there. So there you go. So this is my last question because I can sit here and just talk to you for a minute. And it's so funny because on your lives, you're just like, okay, I got to get out of here. And it'll be like 30 minutes later and you be getting in, especially when you get the paper and the pen. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So your I don't know if you trademarked this term, but you should, the forward progress. Can you explain to us just what that, it's not a theory because it works. So can you just explain to us what forward progress means according to you?
Sure. When I think of forward progress, most of my videos, I have a little stick figure drawing that I draw all the time. And there's this point of where you are, there's the desired end result where you want to end up. And then there's a line, which is the journey. And we know to get from here to here requires progress, forward progress. And so I feel like whatever goal, whatever thing you want to accomplish that you designate, that's the finish line, you got to start somewhere. And the only way to get there is forward progress. So I immediately think desired end result requires forward progress. And I like to focus on forward progress than the outcome, because forward progress, I might get to the outcome or get close to it and decide I want something else or what have you. That's not a failure, because every time I move forward, if I'm here and I want to get here and I move here, I've grown right here. Mm-hmm. I've expanded, and I don't want to discount who I became from here to here. And so that's why when I focus so much on forward progress, because every time I say yes to something, every time I gain an experience, whether I end up at the finish line or not, I've expanded. I've operated in my purpose, because whatever happens is just data. And then what I get to do with it, that data, what I choose. So that's why I spend a lot of time on forward progress, because we change, we expand. And I don't want failure to be, I get over here and decide I don't want that. See, I wasted all this time. No, who did you become every time you took a step forward? Don't discount all those, you see. And so that's why I spend a lot of time focusing on forward progress. So forward progress to me is an identifiable goal, an identifiable action where you are, and the movement to become the you who rests at the finish line. And then, every finish line is a start to the next race.
Yes. But it's just like you said, your operating system, putting the foundation piece, like once you got the foundation down, then, you can do anything, because you have a way of filtering or processing, what's happening. I like that, just having a way to figure some stuff out.
Yeah. Just, there's these, so I have this ebook, 50 Foundational Agreements. And these are things that I really say to myself, and I say it so frequently that it in those moments, the circumstance doesn't get louder than my agreement, because the circumstance can get louder than my agreement. And then I find myself being distracted or being afraid because it just doesn't look like it's working out. But if I have a foundational agreement, one of my foundational agreements is I'm the permission slip. The privilege of adulthood is, when we were kids, we had to have the authority sign our permission slip, the authority, our parents, whoever. I'm that now. So a lot of times we won't move forward because we're still kind of in the mindset that I need permission. We say, I'm not sure, but what we're really saying is I need permission to get to an outcome that may not match where I want it to, and not feel terrible or be thought of as a terrible person or as a failure, which is why another agreement is I'm my safest space in the universe. So I'll tell you this quick. I kind of use this analogy. You imagine, your child, your grandchild, a little over 1 year old, and everybody's in the living room, the grandparents, the parents, big sister, little, all of them in the room, and the baby's starting to take those steps, right? It's Christmas and the baby's starting to move, and this is the moment we get to see the first steps. So everybody's all excited, right? And the baby starts to take steps. What are we doing? We're clapping, yay, excited. And so when I think about us venturing into something unknown, starting the business, doing whatever our goal is, the privilege of adulthood is we experience new things. So we're the baby in the room, and we're the adults around the room. So if that same scenario, if there's a baby in your life and you're there with aunties and uncles, if one of them people look at that baby takes a couple steps and falls, and if one of those people say, "You're so stupid. What? You took 2 steps. That's nothing to be proud of. Look at this stupid baby." Auntie, uncle, cousins, they finna whoop on uncle or whoever said that. They finna whoop on them.
Absolutely.
But then if you're the baby and you're the one surrounding, you're doing the same thing when you say, "But what if I fail? Because if I fail, I'm gonna be stupid." You're doing the same thing. You get the privilege to be the baby taking the steps and seeing new things, and you get to be you get to be the adults cheering the baby on. And so whenever I think about the way that I talk to myself, I always go to that analogy, and I see a little tiny me and I see a bunch of me. Am I cheering me, celebrating me, accepting that maybe the baby didn't take 10 steps to get to the other sofa? Maybe the baby took 2 steps and failed. Am I going to make that baby feel stupid, or am I going to celebrate? So maybe I don't get to 100,000 a month, but maybe I start the business. Maybe I go on 5 different experiences where I talk to people and I learn and I grow. Maybe I didn't meet my goal, but I planted the seeds. I did the thing. Because a lot of times we'll set a goal and we haven't even assessed our capacity to see if we can even reach it. I know somebody that was selling $5 products, and they wanted to reach 100,000, and some of the products involved them doing it. And I said, well, do the math. You work a full-time job and you do this. How many will it take for you to get there? So you set a goal and you didn't even assess your capacity, because that would mean you'd have to work 93 hours a day. Well, it ain't but 24 in a day. So sometimes we get mad because we don't make this arbitrary goal, but we haven't even assessed our capacity to see if it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I don't, you know what? I really think that we just need to sit here and think about some of the things you said, because, the reason why, that we wanted you on, because one of our missions here at HAPI is that we're we are 100% helping people to become more, find out more about themselves so that they can become better in their families. And then that bleeds onto being better, as a community. And then our community, really get into this place where we can be financially independent. And one of the philosophies that we lean into was created by Dr. Leonard Jeffries, the pyramid analysis, which is politics, culture, and economics. And for any community, you can't have 2 out of 3. You got to have all 3. And so a lot of times we've had a lot of historians come in, a lot of economists. We've had those type of conversations. But when we start peeling back the layers, this basic piece of just knowing who we are is super important. And I'm so happy that you came on, because you've given us a process so that we can start that, and not start that or just continue that. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Definitely.
Thank you
for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your strategies. We really appreciate that.
And this is just, you know what, y'all just don't know. This is really the tip of the iceberg in terms of her strategies, because she has lots of strategies. This is like a little taste, but family, let me put up her information. You guys have to make sure that you are liking and you are subscribed to all of her channels, and that you just get on a live, and also bring somebody else, send it to other people. I have a whole Coach Val J group that I send my stuff to, and now I see them like posting their little stuff up there, acting like they found you. Like, I found you. like really? But yeah, right here you can go
Thank you.
hit her up on all the platforms, and this is her stand store. So I wanted us to just look at this. I'm gonna put this back up for a minute, but you have everything here. Some of the things that you talked about. So you talked about the 50 foundational agreements, the ebook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The comfortable lie. Yeah, all of these family. And look, you can get a little clear. I like how you said clarity chat. Yep, a little clarity chat. You can. Or you can get a whole, no BS forward progress. Like here, now you ready to like move, and then you can, and you can also you because you have a newsletter. Listen, family, there's no way that you can not be like, now it's like you can't unsee it, because now you have a lot of ways to get at Coach Val J. And also at the beginning of the show, we said, that we have a little giveaway. And so this is the giveaway. Now I'm going to put up the email address to where you have to email this to. So Coach Val, and thank you, Hassan. Hassan just came up with this little question here. Coach Val J, she talked about what she does in the morning, and she listed a bunch of things. Okay, so the first person to email us at HAPIfilm at gmail.com. I don't know why I keep hitting the timer. That's why. I'm sorry. Okay, right there. HAPIfilm at gmail.com. The first person to email us 3 things that Coach Val J said that she does in the morning. Okay. You gotta be the first person. Now, the other piece is that if you have not opened up the newsletter that I sent out this morning with Coach Val J on it, you can't even win. You have had to open up the email. Okay?
That's why we tell them to sign up.
That's why we tell people to sign up.
Yeah.
People who sign up, when they open it, they already knew. They say, "Oh, I opened it, so I'm already eligible for the giveaway." But if you didn't open it, you didn't know. So family, right here. Okay, 3 things that Coach Val J does every morning without, like, she does not play around with these things. 3 things, not 1, 3 things. Okay, and email us at HAPIfilm at gmail. Okay. Did you have any other questions, Mr. Hassan?
No. I mean, I have more questions, but that'll take another 2 hours or so.
No, we got to get a little clarity chat. We got to sign up for the clarity chat. I'm a subscriber, and family, let me just say that I'm a subscriber. And she sent out the November challenge. I was like, damn, man, woo! And then you have something going on right now. The 26 things to do before the end of the year. Like, you don't, like, I'm telling you, like, you don't have to do every single thing that she has going on. If you just do one thing, you already set. You already feel like, you feel like you're walking in your purpose, like for real, So, yeah.
I'd rather give Coach Val the floor to give us some parting words, some inspiration for the people that are listening that may have doubt. Well, the majority of us have doubts in what we're going to do moving forward. So you could just give us some parting words.
Sure. Well, again, first, thank you for having me. I always look forward to opportunities to speak with people, like-minded folks that are just here to help people help themselves. And so as I get ready for this new year, we're in this new month, I just want to really, really remind people, I said it before, you really do get to decide. And if you could just kind of sit for a moment and say, yeah, but they did that, or this happened, or, society is doing this, or the politicians are doing this, or people are doing this. All of that is very true. And then there's a space. Those things are happening. That's very true. There's an outcome or there's an experience. But the middle part, which is the big part, is what am I doing with it? And so one of the main things I ask myself is, what meaning, what impact did I give to this situation or this circumstance or this person, place, or thing for my life and my future? And if we could just be able to pause and get in the habit of asking that, we can pause enough to get a little bit of clarity and a little bit of restoration, a little less panic, sometimes a little bit less stress, a little bit of space to breathe, give our nervous system a little bit of safety, and then start to take little tiny actionable steps that create forward progress, and it creates the experiences that we've decided to experience. Because if you don't decide what you're going to experience, somebody's going to decide it for you.
Yes. Powerful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
100%. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So wait, Coach Val, we don't want you to sign off, but we're going to put you in the green room and we're going to finish the show. And I just want to chat with you before you.
Please. Thank you. Thank you all for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yo, see what I tell you, Hassan? Like I'm telling, listen, there's no reason.
Once you sent me the video of her, because I never heard of her before. So, and I've just been watching, videos, and very inspiring, because basically, like we do it to ourselves, self-sabotage. It's always us that's doing it to ourselves.
It's an inside job. She said it was an inside job.
Yeah. Well, it's like, just think about the simplicity of that. It's like, it's so simple that you're doing it to yourself, because I've done it plenty of times. I did it yesterday, and I'll probably do it again tomorrow.
A little bit
more tools.
Yeah, exactly. It's like once you start like listening to and listen to her language, and you start like really seeing these concepts more than once, when you're doing the thing, you're doing the incorrect thing, I could have made a different choice. But before you was just doing stuff and not knowing that you could have made a different choice. So even that is progress, because you're able to, identify like, okay, I could have done it, too. I can decide, like all those these things. So it's so
like she said, awareness.
So helpful. Yeah, it's awareness, definitely awareness.
Yeah.
But I like the part where we can't just keep intellectualizing, the healing process. You have to actually like do the thing, like the trying, like you have to actually do it. The book piece that she said about the reading the book, but you've done nothing in the book. It's like
we do it all the time.
We do it all the time.
Yep.
All right. So family, right there, it's email us at happyfem@gmail.com. 3 things that Coach Val J does every morning, and you will win a clarity chat with Coach Val J herself. Okay. So family, make sure you email us. And I'm telling you, if you didn't open up that email, the email I sent this morning, the newsletter, the email from us.
Yeah.
Don't even email us.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say one thing to the HAPI family. When we get a lot of feel-good information on the internet, right? And it feels good for the moment, and we don't apply it. So just think about, imagine if you applied 15% of the information that people are giving, the suggestions that people are giving for you to have progress moving forward. Just really take some thought and just think about, if I just applied one or two things every time I've heard a motivational speaker or someone that's a financial analyst or someone that's, speaking to you about spirituality, just challenge yourself to apply it, because we have to start really applying this, because a lot of the information is feel good information in the moment, and we just move forward with our lives like it's entertainment,
Yeah, this is so not entertainment. And even if, one of the good things that you can apply is her morning routine. Just start with that tomorrow.
Yep.
See, but you wasn't paying attention. You don't know what her morning routine is. But if you just go back, look, all our videos are on YouTube. You can go back, listen to it, and figure it and figure that piece out. But yeah. That's right. Application is everything. All right, that's it.
Yep. Hi, happy Philly.
All right, and peace.
Economics and politics are the foundation of human development.
While forming the world's earliest civilizations, Africans also laid the groundwork for the creation of economic systems.
By learning from our history, we gain the strength to empower the present and design the future. Presenting the premier forum for truth, culture, and change. HAPI Talks. Join us as we unlock the secrets to our success.